Hello, welcome to When the Smoke Clears. I am the Recovery Plug. What's going on, everybody? Hope everybody's doing good today. Today's another great day in sobriety, another great day in recovery, another great day in spirituality, another great day to be alive. What's happening, man? I hope everybody's doing great. I know that my day's going pretty good. But before we get this video podcast started, if you would please join me in a moment of silence, followed by the serenity prayer for the addict who still suffers and for those of us who are still in the struggle. So if you would, please, a moment of silence. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, wisdom to know the difference. Alrighty, well, let's get started. How y'all doing, man? It's going pretty good, right? I hope you guys are doing good. I really do. Today I wanted to talk to you guys about this one thing that I do every day, and it's rituals. I want to talk to you about what rituals are and how they affect your everyday life, how they affect my everyday life, how they affect my sobriety, my recovery, that sort of thing. And so before, let's dig into it. You know what I mean? The ritual, you know what I mean? Rituals are things that a lot of people may not notice, but everybody does rituals. Every single person in the world does rituals. I can guarantee you that it happens. And it's funny because, when you think rituals, a lot of people automatically think, oh, it's this whole, satanic thing, or, it has something to do with spirits or whatever, you know what I mean? And they could be far from the truth. I mean, it does, there is some spirituality involved in it and that sort of thing. And there can be some, evilness to it, but rituals are things that you can do that could be positive, that they could be spiritual, that they could be helpful, that they could be healing, that they could be, this whole divinity presence, this positive energy type thing. You know what I mean? So let me take these things off. I wanted to read something to you guys that I'm going to read this thing that I really enjoyed reading this thing that I found on the internet, because it really kind of broke down the ritual of what ritual is, and it kind of interprets it the way I would have interpreted it, and the way I feel about it is exactly how they worded it in this particular website that I looked up. But before that, I want to give you the definition, and I got this off of the Cambridge Dictionary, and it says ritual is a way of doing something in which the same actions are done in the same way every time. Okay, so in other words, that's saying that you're doing an action, you're repeatedly doing it. You know what I mean? And that, in turn, there becomes a ritual, because you're doing it every single time. And every single time you're doing it with the intent of getting the same result every time you're doing it. You know what I mean? So it becomes a ritual. And this gets to... let me read a little bit more. I'll read to you what I looked up, that really, the thing that I liked, and then we'll go into it a little bit more, and I'll elaborate on how I feel about it, and how I'll tell you how I do my rituals, the things that I do, and how I feel, and how I relate to what I'm reading. Okay, so here we go. Okay, and this thing is from the mindfullivingnetwork.com, and this thing says, it says, welcome to the season of rituals. It said, many of our sacred, familial, and societal rituals are present this time of year. A ritual is a bridge connecting your past, present, and future. Rituals glue together the inside and out. Your daily spiritual practice, your daily meals, and your play rituals with your family and friends help keep you glued together. Rituals are the anchors that keep you centered and resilient as you travail life's storms, losses, joys, celebrations, and transformations. A ritual is an intentional action that evokes deep inner meaning and connects your mind, body, and soul. The smallest act can have a dramatic feeling or meaning, the smallest act can have a dramatic meaning. Ritual is the repetition of a ceremony, or elaborate, or simple or elaborate, alone or with a community. Rituals awaken your five senses. And it says, rituals create mental and physical health. These practices will keep you healthy and increase your happiness in many ways. Rituals reduce stress, anxiety, and depression, and they calm the mind and promote relaxation. When you feel drained, fearful, or stressed, you can do simple rituals to stop your stress and restore balance and calm. You may have a ritual of deep breathing. You may have a ritual of things like yoga, tai chi, qigong, meditation, guided imagery, or listening to music. And it says, create new rituals that create meaning. Spiritual, religious rituals develop a spiritual life and connection with the divine, holy God. Rituals such as quiet time in your home, moments of silence, meditation, or reading from an inspirational book are invaluable. Informal rituals such as blessing your food before eating a meal and expressing gratitude in the morning and before bed keep you respectful and grounded. Family rituals create rhythm, security, and richness in your family. Many Sabbath rituals are very powerful in rooting your family together. They help keep your family grounded. Simple rituals such as reading together, eating meals, bathing your kids, walking and playing time weave your lives together. Health rituals, exercise regularly as a spiritual and healthy ritual. Where do you eat? What do you eat? How do you eat? Is your dining space cheerful, peaceful, and reflecting respect? Remember that color, noise, food, and light are all integrated in your food ritual. Now, I really like how they put all this, how they put everything in context with how your life is related to rituals and the many things that people can be familiar with, is especially like your family and your spiritual community, your spiritual life, your religion, whatever that may be. You know what I mean? It doesn't have, there's no certain set of religious or whatever. This is for everything and everybody. You know what I mean? So this is why I like the way they had this worded, and it's one of the things that really stuck out to me was the part here that says that you may have a ritual of deep breathing, yoga, tai chi, qigong, meditation, guided imagery, or listening to music. And man, that really stuck out to me because I do all of that stuff. You know what I mean? I do qigong, I do tai chi, I do meditation, and I do periods of silent meditation where it's just me and the world, and it's just silent in my room, and I'm not listening to nothing for 30 minutes straight, you know what I mean, or an hour even sometimes. But I could really relate to that, and it to me, I believe that, when you do repetitive things like that on a consistent basis, that means every single day. You don't have to. I didn't start like doing all these things every single day, one right after another. I mean, all this stuff happened progressively through time. You know what I mean? And but I made it a point to do something positive and ritualistic every single day. You know what I mean? And it started from from just doing an affirmation. You know what I mean? Doing an affirmation every single morning. I did that, you know what I mean? And I've been doing that on a consistent basis for the last year and a half, and it's been working, you know what I mean? And when you wake up in the morning and after a good night's rest, and you know, for me personally, my ritual is as soon as I get up, I start chanting prayers. You know what I mean? And then after the prayer chanting, I'll jump into a meditation, and I'll either Om meditate or Soham meditate, and then I will go into I'll you know, let a little bit of time lapse. You know, maybe an hour or so. I'll get my breakfast, my coffee. I'll take a cold plunge or whatever, and then I will get back to what I'm doing, and that is doing a mental meditation and connecting to my chakras. You know what I mean? And when I start my day off like that, it's like you got your mindset in this positive and spiritual way that is what your mind is looking for. You know what I mean? It automatically starts defaulting there. You know what I'm saying? So when you put that kind of slate, that kind of foundation on your day, well then, you know, the odds of your day going pretty good, stress-free, and that sort of thing are going to be pretty high. You know what I mean? I haven't, you know, experienced that much negativity in my life ever since I've been doing this practice. You know what I mean? So it's I know it to be helpful. I know it to be successfully working, and you know, it just depends on how much time you put into it, you know, and how effective it's going to work for you in your situation in your life. You know what I mean? For me personally, since I do have some sobriety under my belt now, and I have gone through a little bit of the structured environment to get to where I'm at now. And what I mean by that is going to the treatment center that I went to and stayed there for over 80 days, and then going to a sober living place, and then now I'm currently living in my own place. And it by no means was it an easy transition. It was pretty tough because I dealt with a lot of sadness and depression, but it nonetheless, because I've been doing it on a repetitious basis, I feel like it's been really helpful, and doing these things like a ritualistic thing, meaning doing it every single day, and it's like when I do this stuff, I'm doing it because I want a positive lifestyle. I want positive energy, positive lifestyle, positive wisdom, positive spirituality, positive, you know, knowledge, and positive cosmic energy. That's what I'm want to radiate towards me. You know what I mean? And I think that I've been doing a pretty good deal about it. You know what I mean? I think I've been doing pretty good because I've been experiencing a bunch of positive things and positive feelings, and you know, I'm not gonna lie to you. You know, I'm gonna be straightforward here that I am in my own place, right, and where I do most of my meditation and rituals, and it is a comfort zone for me. You know what I mean? And I'm working on it. You know what I mean? This is not something that happens like automatically. You know what I mean? You gradually do it, and you gradually get into things. You gradually stop breaking barriers down, and it moves you into this positive lifestyle, right? And one of the things that I've had trouble with is I've been having really trouble with wanting to interact with people. And what I mean by that is like it's taking a toll on me, I guess, with with being lonely, you know what I mean, with not having somebody to share things with and that sort of thing, right? So, but I found out that doing rituals every single day, doing the things that I've been doing, have been really helping me in that area, where I'm just living my life in this positive way that it's fulfilling enough. You know what I mean? And I'll let, that part of my life, unfold however, my higher power and the cosmic energies of the world allows me to unfold it. You know what I mean? And whatever comes my way, you know what I mean? And I'm satisfied with that. And, like I said, like I've mentioned many times before, recovery isn't easy sometimes, you know what I mean? It is, a bit of a struggle sometimes, but it's in those struggles where if you stay grounded and if you keep persevering through those struggles is when your brain starts, the plasticity in your brain starts moving and working, and it just starts remapping your brain and your energies, you know what I mean? And I never really believed it so much, you know what I mean? But I've been doing a lot of reading, a lot of research, and mainly because, I've had brain surgery done before, and I want to take care of my brain, you know what I mean? And go figure, man. Researching a lot about that, it has made me look at life different, and knowing that the things that I think about, the environment that I put myself, is going to have a tremendous effect on how I live my life and where my life will be going. And through doing the healthy and spiritual and just the rituals that I do, and that consists of prayers, that consists of mantras, meditation, just meditating in silence, having that silence time, and doing a lot of reading, and that sort of thing. And I'm doing these things on a consistent basis. I'm doing these things every single day. I make it a point to do this. I make it a point to pray. I make it a point to say these mantras. I make it a point to meditate. I make it a point to exercise. I make it a point to do this video podcast on the daily, and I make it a point to interact with my peer support groups, my NA groups, my AA groups, that sort of thing. And because I've been doing this on a consistent basis for the last year and a half, man, my life has been a total transformation from where it was 2 years ago. And I'm just grateful. I really am. And it works. You know what I mean? Doing things on a repetitive basis is just like an athlete practicing. You know what I mean? The more you practice at something, the more you do something repetitively every day, is how you're going to master something. And it's just like when you go to work, you know what I mean? You weren't always the helper at work. You weren't always this entry-level person at work. The more you went to work every single day, the more you did what you're doing, and now you start getting into this, you perfect what you're doing, basically. You know what I mean? In a sense. And that is the same way that recovery works. You know what I mean? Recovery works the same way. The more that you do things for your recovery on a daily basis, the better that your life will get. The more you will recover, the easier it becomes. And it's just great, you know what I mean? I just wanted to share that today with you guys, the word ritual and the rituals that I do on a daily basis, and how those particular rituals have transformed my life and keep my life on this positive and constant good energy and good things happening, you know what I mean? And I would have it no other way, and I'm just grateful that I was able to learn this stuff, and I have been and still learning through a bunch of different a bunch of different, people that I like watching and on podcasts and stuff like that. These spiritual and people who are just really life helpers in a sense, you know what I mean, and who really care about helping people with being successful and being spiritually, connected and being healthy and just all of those things kind of just wrapped into one. So I'm grateful for that, and I'm grateful that I'm able to be able to hear them, listen to them, and practice the things that they do. And then since I've been doing that, my life has transformed and has been really on this, go positive, speed, if you will, of life. And I'm just grateful that that's happening, man. And and in turn there makes me want to do these videos and spread the message and spreading and tell people stories of what has helped me and what's helping me, so that it may help somebody else. And so that's the whole dealio here about doing the podcast. You know what I mean? So I just I'm grateful that I'm able to sit here today and share a message with you guys. But I guess that's going to be it for today's video podcast. I really greatly appreciate you guys listening to me and sticking this long with me. And please, if you would, give me a thumbs up, give me a comment. Please share my channel and hit that subscribe button. And it doesn't cost you a thing. Just know that when you do hit that subscribe button, that you'll be helping out another veteran, another homeless person, another person dealing with PTSDs, childhood traumatic experiences, anger, sadness, depression, suicidal thoughts, all of those types of things, because I, my friends, have dealt with all those types of things at one point in time in my life. And I'm here to tell you that there is recovery, there is beautiful spirituality on the other side of the fence. And please, I guess until the next time on When the Smoke Clears, I am the Recovery Plug.